Come again.
I think this is the large blue.
Well, where are we going to use the large blue? Okay.
Large blue. Okay, the white
Material is
the white
labeled.
one, it's here.
Yeah.
NC3 2 ears. Okay. Large blue too.
Large blue. Which one is?
Oh,
That's light blue. It
it's
says
two, but
black.
yeah.
This is a very tight variation. This is probably one of the best runs that I've seen since we've been doing this. You all focused, you knew what you were doing, and you were able to all build a standard Happy Ears, exactly what the customer wanted. So, how has the training affected your production process? It's improved it. How did it affect the quality of the product? What the customer wants forms to our requirements. How about the time? It not just improved the time, but it reduced the variation, which becomes very important, especially when we are, as managers, trying to schedule workers, right? And figure out how many workers we need, how much equipment we need. Having things that are repeatable becomes very important. How has communication across groups helped the organization as a whole? Did we have any communication across groups?
Yes. Oh, yes. Also, yeah.
Okay, within groups we did. Did we have any cross groups?
Yeah. No,
Did you talk to this production line, talk to this production line? Okay, we had a couple of interactions. How do you think it would have affected us if each of you, everyone in the whole organization, had gotten together and, say, discussed the method in which you were going to put this together? Did anybody use an assembly line method for putting their... For the eyes?
Yes.
Okay. So we had a couple people doing assembly lines. How many people did one, each person did their own? Okay, we had a couple of those. So we still had differences in the way we produced because we didn't cross communication. So, we are not going to do any more runs here, but the question is, did this last group appear more empowered than the previous ones? Down to the point they're actually giving me suggestions and stating that we actually look inferior and we've utilized a few too many times, we need some new stuff. In the first couple runs, I wasn't any of that. So, what contributed to you doing that? Well, there was some experience,
20 minutes of
training, 20 minutes experience, the prototype, communication, your employees. So in summary, what we've got here, the voice of the customer, first and foremost, has to be translated correctly in order to do anything of a quality nature. There has to be communication within the organization, and even if everyone has the same objective, which you did in the first run, you could interpret those objectives differently and therefore still not satisfy the customer. You mean well, but it's not what we want. By simply verbalizing the customer requirements, this wasn't an effective method to produce what the customer wanted. When we talk about something being effective, we talk about effective in terms of being quality. Effective refers to doing the correct task to accomplish the job to meet the customer need. Okay, the voice of the customer then may be translated correctly, but our employees must also be empowered to carry out the requirements, or else the customer will still not be satisfied. You weren't empowered the first time. You figured that you had to make it with whatever material I gave you, so instead of blue pipe cleaners, you used orange. Even though we translated correctly and told you we wanted blue, it didn't come across because you weren't empowered. Support functions, such as material procurement in this case, or any other type of internal suppliers. They can have a dramatic impact on satisfying the external customer expectations. But these are often internally, we often overlook those things. Quality problems that are found during production or after service has been completed are very time consuming to correct. When eyes keep popping off, you can end up seeing a major problem or a major variation in the time it takes to keep correcting that because the eyes keep popping off, right? Lower cost material doesn't necessarily mean an increase in profits if the material is not effective in producing the product, right? Empowering our employees is sometimes as simple as allowing them some freedoms, like talking amongst each other. But it also requires a trust of employees so that freedoms are possible. Because that's one of the things that we often overlook. We're afraid to give up that power. Employees, not just upper management, also have to have a concern for the company. I have to care about it. So empowering employees could be as simple as training them. It can go a long ways towards improving your processes and your efficiencies.